Morning, good evening, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are on earth listening to this video and tuning in. Welcome to my channel Cut to Cricket. I'm your host Raj Patel, and today I'm truly blessed as I'm joined by some of the stalwarts of this game, I would say. Now, they may not have played the game at the highest level, but they have written about it, spoken about it, and have had strong opinions on this game in the last 50 to 60 years. In fact, if you look at them, they are of my grandfather's age, I would say. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Just adding a touch of humor. But yes, they are very good people and one of the finest voices of cricket you would ever come across. Thanks, Tony, Hendo, and Messi for coming in. How are you
You
guys?
basically stumbled into an old people's home, is what you're saying, and you've just picked up three random dribbling idiots who are
No,
kindly now going to answer your questions.
no three.
Well, the wise old men come in threes, don't they, Tony?
They do. They did. Three wise men. You're absolutely right. Yes, indeed.
Yes. So, just in case if the audience is wondering, I'll introduce each one of them. I have my notes. So first up, starting with Tony Bishop. He's a commentator, come writer, come podcast host, come producer, come head of marketing at Guerilla Cricket. He's also known for his witty and irreverent takes on cricket. He's also helped me personally, I would say, when I was about to write my first cricket article. He was there with me, so I'm really grateful for him. Tony, thanks for coming. Anything else you want to add?
No, that was your expose on
WTC Championship.
Yeah, how to make that more equitable.
Yes.
I thought it was a very interesting, thoughtful piece. It did very well on our website. You will be pleased to know. Got a lot of reads.
Yeah.
So it was time well spent.
Yes. Next up, we have Nigel Henderson, co-founder of Guerilla Cricket. He's also a cricket writer, journalist, author of several books, and he brings glamour to the mainstream commentary at Guerilla Cricket. He's the main anchor and also a former opening batsman, I would say, who has spent a winter nets at Surrey in the early 1980s or 1970s, maybe.
No, 1980s.
1970s.
I mean, I was playing cricket in the 1970s, but not I prefer the 1980s.
And now we'll move on to Messy, who opened for Perth in the 1880s.
Yes. I think that's when the Ashes started, right? 1882. So
1887,
yes.
yes.
So
1877, wasn't it?
It's 77, 77,
1877,
yeah, but at that time it was not known as Ashes, probably.
good point.
First,
Good point.
Yeah.
True.
So yes, last but not the least, we have one more Henderson in our channel, Jeremy Henderson. Obviously not the real brother of Nigel Henderson. He's more of a brother from another mother and another father, obviously, I would say. And he's based in Western Australia, Perth, and he's also known as a man who never sleeps. And I think he's also known as the cricket encyclopedia of Guerilla Cricket because he has that ability to bring out cricketing stats. So Messi, thanks for coming in. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you, Raj. The secret of being an encyclopedia is having access to one, so I just Google quicker than most people.
Yes, but still you're quick. You're still quick. So yes, that is useful. So yes, all the introductions have been done finally. Without any further ado, let's start the preview for the most awaited series of the year, the greatest rivalry in the world of cricket, one of the oldest rivalry across global sport, dating back to 1882, the fight for the urn, a cricketing war between two nations, i.e., the Ashes, down under. So we'll start with the Aussie side of things first, as they hold the Ashes currently. Although England were the moral victorious side last year, but Tony and Hendo, you need to bear with me for some time. Let's start with Australia. Let's start with Messi. Messi, take us through the Australian top order. I mean, when was the last time where Australia was struggling to find an opener, to find a proper in at three batters? And since David Warner's retirement, they have had 5 different openers in Steve Smith, Marnus Labuschagne, Travis Head, Nathan McSweeney, Sam Constas. Obviously, Head and Smith are middle order batsmen, but none of them actually did really well. And now they have Jack Weatherald, and who is probably going to open, and Marnus Labuschagne in at 3. So how do you look at the top 3 of Australia's batting lineup?
Yeah, it's been very interesting. I mean, it is true that Australia actually has been struggling to find another opener for a long time now, and has tried and failed. I think the selectors might be seen as being a bit conservative, but basically what they've gone for is Weatherald on the basis of his form in Shield cricket, particularly last year. And he is 31 years old. He turned 31 yesterday, actually.
Yep.
And I think he deserves the chance to open, and I think he will open. You're not going to put someone in that squad unless you have a real intention of them actually opening. The cat is amongst the pigeons because of the interest in the squad, and the truth is that if Weatherald opens, then almost certainly Webster won't be able to play, which is very sad because I think Webster has done everything that's been asked of him since he was selected. He's put in an amazing effort for Australia, but having two all-rounders is sometimes just too much in a side like that. So I think you'll be looking at Weatherald opening with Khawaja, followed by Labuschagne, who's in incredible form. And he's actually scored more runs at Perth Stadium than anybody else by a considerable margin.
Yes.
Steve Smith, Travis Head, then Alex Carey, Cameron Green, Alex Carey, and then you move on to the bowlers. Now, there seems to be a view that it will be Boland, Doggett, Lyon and Stark, or not in that order, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually brought Nisa in instead of Doggett. Doggett's done very well in the Sheffield Shield of late, but the thing about Nisa is he's got 5 first-class centuries. And when you've lost Pat Cummins, who's a deft hand with the bat as a fast bowler, I wouldn't claim he was an all-rounder, but it's a big gap to fill. And Doggett really doesn't have a batting record. So don't be surprised if you see Nisa come in instead. Either way, Australia's going to be a bit light on with Hazelwood and Cummins out, but it's still a reasonably formidable attack, particularly Stark, who I think is bowling better than any time in his career. He's just bowling extraordinarily well at the moment. And Nathan Lyon, there's been some suggestion that Lyon might be left out. I don't think there's any possibility of that. He's taken more wickets at Perth Stadium than anybody else. And if the game goes the distance, then they need somebody who's going to be able to control the scoring at one end. And that's exactly what he does. He's somebody who's persistent and continues and is totally different from what England have as a spinner. So that's how I see the team lining up.
Okay, we'll talk in detail about the Australian middle order and also the bowling lineup. Let's start with baseball. The baseballers in Tony and Hando. England's batting approach, the aggressive, positive batting intent in the form of baseball. It has worked to a greater extent in flat conditions, I would say, in England pitches, Pakistan flat pitches, and also in New Zealand, I would say. But they faltered in India last year, I would say. What do you think baseball would work in the lively, spiciest Australian tracks? Maybe Tony can start.
Want me to start with that? Okay. Yes, I think it can work. And then certainly the way they played the game at Lilac Hill. If you look at the scores,
yes,
the batsman who scored very quickly. And it was a Lion side. It was an inter-squad game, and I'm sure Hendo and I between us will come on to, the old, if you fail to prepare, then you might need to prepare to fail.
Yeah.
Issue for England, because I certainly feel quite strongly that England haven't gone about this in the most professional way, and that does concern me. But I think generally you need to think about how you're going to play a ball that is going to bounce more on you. Joe Root is probably one of the most interesting cases in point there. I mean, Australia had a few years ago a real theory that he was a LBW candidate. I think David Warner said he had a surfboard for a front pad or something, was the famous quote. But if you look at his dismissals in Australia, and of course the albatross on his shoulder or around his neck or whatever it is, that he's never made a ton. Most of the ways he tends to get out is caught in the cordon, and that's because he loves that glide shot. So the wickets that have tended to get him a lot of the time are that fourth stump line, where he's so used to playing that little glide between sort of third slip and backward point. I and the ball that bounces more on him doesn't allow him to play that, and in fact has been his downfall. So I don't think it's about LBW. I think it's okay if he can manage that and can transmit the understanding of being able to manage that to the likes of Crawley. Come the first ball, there will not be an English sphincter that doesn't tighten. If England are opening, the batting, and it's Crawley or the Duckster.
Okay.
Visions of Rory Burns will be in everyone's mind.
Yeah. By the way, do we have Hendo? Do we have Hendo in?
I think he might have be sorting some tech issues.
Okay. Carry on. Yeah.
So it's a long answer, but the answer is yes.
Yes. Okay.
It will need, as has actually always been the case. I think the flowing cover drive that Crawley essayed at the beginning of the 23 series at Edgbaston. Everyone said, and it was magnificent. It is a test match that England lost, not because of a declaration, because they didn't hold their catches. That's why they lost that test match. But
also because of the declaration, you may say it was not required at that point in time. But anyways.
But essentially, playing and the Kookaburra does more than it used to. And although it's a drop-in pitch in Perth, it is the same black soil. I think Messy knows this way better than me. But that has caused the bounce. I think the average first innings scores around about 340, 350.
Yeah.
I need to check that.
Yeah. It's a pitch you need to spend some time getting in on, but once you're in, the run's there.
220 scored quickly will not win a test match at Perth. England only won once at the Wacker, I think, in
that's right.
14 goes. They've obviously never played at Perth Stadium. Whether it's Australia think in terms of changing their approach to how they prepare the wicket, knowing they don't have Stark and Hazelwood, I don't know. But even
Cummins.
I mean, there is quite an interesting fact. I think that only since 2014, only twice at home have Australia played a test without Cummins and Hazelwood. They won both those games. One of them was against England in 21. One was against the West Indies in 2022. Interestingly, Michael Nessa played and did pretty well in both those tests.
I think Scott Boland also played.
So I'm kind of with Messy that I've got a feeling we're going to see Nessa.
Michael Nessa,
and, I'll use a Watford football analogy for you. If ever I read in the local paper that the opposition is missing key players, and the Watford Observer's going, this is great for Watford, it's going to be, we lose.
Okay.
It's the ultimate red flag that says if you're celebrating who the other team don't have, then you're walking into very dangerous territory indeed. And I really hope England are not doing that. I hope they're not.
Okay.
But so yes, Messi's right. You've got to play yourself in. I suspect you cannot treat it. You can try and get on the front foot, definitely, but you've got to watch the bounce of the ball and the rising ball, and particularly in the first 20-30 overs when that Kookaburra does a little bit more than it used to, because it's got a harder shell and a slightly prouder seam than it used to have.
Yeah.
Talking about I think Hendo has left us, unfortunately, but that's okay. We still have Tony. Talking about the baseball approach, let's say if you are Ben Stokes and they have
logged him off.
Yes. So you always have the tendency to bowl first, and you tell the opposition that you set a target of whatever 400, 500, 600 will chase it down. What do you think? Will he still opt to bowl first if he wins the toss? Tony?
Nobody.
Ben Stokes.
Yeah, Ben Stokes. Yes.
No, I would be horrified if he did.
All 5 tests played at the Perth Stadium have been won by the side winning the toss.
They have,
and they've batted first. Yeah. I mean, 4 of them have been Australia and 1 India, but you definitely win the toss and bat in Perth. You've got no choice.
No one's done it and won yet.
Yes, I'll ask the same question to Hendo, who is back in. Hendo, you are Ben Stokes. You win the toss at Perth. Would you bowl first or bat first?
Goodness, I think you bat first, don't you? I mean, I'm
Sorry, Hendo, we got no volume.
He's mute.
The cat logged Hendo off.
cat logged me off. Can you not hear
I don't
me?
know if it's assuming sort of editorial control for you, Raj.
Only as a distant echo, Hendo. I'm sorry.
Some technical glitch we have. We cannot.
I would
hear
say,
you talk.
well,
yeah.
I think Messy and we can ask Hendo to just nod yes or no. Would you bat would you bat first, Hendo, if you win the toss and you're Ben Stokes? Yes.
Yes.
3 out of 3 bat first.
Okay. Let's move on to the next segment.
This is Hendo for Dummies. Done by a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yes. Let's move on to the next segment, which relates to a couple of selection issues. But I guess Messi has already touched upon it. But we'll talk about it in detail, talking about who's going to bat at number 6 for Australia, the all-rounder spot. Is it going to be Cam Green or Bow Webster? Cam Green has scored runs of late in the Shield matches, and Bow Webster has been picking wickets. So Henderson, Messi, can you please explain in detail?
One's
who would-
local as well, aren't they? Isn't Cameron Green a Western Australian message?
He is,
Yes.
although I don't think that's relevant in the scheme of things. The truth is, Cameron Green is a project for Cricket Australia. He has been over the last 5 years. He's an investment. He's 5 years younger than Bow Webster, so as long as he keeps coming good, then he's something that they are going to continue to invest in. And he's bowling at the Wacker last week. He bowled, I think, 16 overs in the match. And he was bowling at pace. He was bowling 135, 140 Ks, which isn't bad for your fourth bowler. Fifth bowler, really. And he was batting pretty well. That height that he brings means that he can get some serious lift. He got some lift out of the Wacker wicket, which was pretty dead, actually, which challenged the opposition. And I think that he will definitely play.
Okay.
I'd love to see Webster play because I just think he deserves to, but I just don't think there's room for him because even though I don't like Marnus much, I've got to say he's made a hell of a lot of runs lately. And as I said, he's scored 3 centuries at Optus, which is more than anybody else. I think he has to play and he'll be at number 3.
Labuschagne at 3 and Cam Green at 6, right?
Yes, that's the way I see it.
Okay. Yeah, even I agree to that. I think Cam Green is much better batter, I would say, as compared to Bow Webster. Bow Webster is also good, but probably you can start with Cam Green. Initially, I was of the opinion, I thought Manas Labuschagne will open with Khwaja, and maybe there you can play Green at 3 and Bow Webster at 6, but that's okay. Moving on to England, there were a lot of questions on Ollie Pope. He lost his vice captaincy to Harry Brook, and there were some serious doubts on him as well, whether he would bat at 3 or they would give a chance to Jacob Bethel. In the practice game, he played for England, Ollie Pope, and scored a century and a 90 in the second innings, and both innings were very much like a baseball kind of innings. Jacob Bethel managed to score a 70 odd in the second innings after having failed in the first innings. Has Pope done enough to secure his spot at number 3? Tony?
Well, I'm just Hendo, are you audible now? No. Okay.
No.
Yes, I think the plan was always Ollie Pope. If you look at the Lilac Hill warm-up against the Lions,
Yeah.
England played the 11 as England, with only Shoaib Bashir flitting between both sides to get some miles into him, none of which were particularly effective. So I think the plan was always to see how Ollie Pope goes as the incumbent. He made 100. Actually, he was Bashir's wicket after he'd got to literally 100.
Yeah.
But he made it off 113 balls. So again, there is an indication that England want to get on with things. And then I think he made 90 in the second innings there.
90 off 67.
Yeah, Bethel, the Yorkshire bowler, Revis got him out, didn't he? He'd got some scores against India, 71, as you said, started off with 100 there. Lord's 40 odd. How he deals with the bounce will be as interesting as any of them. But he is the nailed on incumbent. I don't think he's failed enough. And of course, he managed to not be part of the debacle of New Zealand ODIs, when literally the whole top order, bar one sort of cavalier effort from Harry Brook,
Yes.
didn't do very well at all. So yeah, I think he's nailed on for the first couple of tests. I think
At least.
Vettel will be knocking on the door if he has a string of 4 failures.
Hendo, thumbs up for Ollie Pope, thumbs down for Jacob Bethel. Who do you think?
I want to speak.
Well, when you shout, we can just about hear you.
I understand it. My microphone says it's working, and yet you can't hear me.
Well, you're getting
can
slightly
hear you a
louder.
bit
What
better
have you
now.
done?
This is fine. This is still okay.
Can you move it right next to your mouth?
Maybe is that any better?
Yes,
That's yes.
Ah,
That's good.
noticeably.
That's what it is. Maybe that was. I thought it was something else. Sorry. Jacob Bethel and Ollie Pope. Well, Ollie Pope has to play at 3.
Sorry, Hendo.
Go on again.
It's a connection issue. I suggest that you unplug your headphones altogether and try using the computer mic. I think it's more likely to work.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but
Vaguely.
vaguely, yeah.
That's without the headphones.
Now it's good.
Oh, that's better.
That's
That's
better.
better.
Better. Yeah.
Well,
No,
that's
you've
very
gone
strange. I just took
Now
my
I can't hear
headphones
you.
off.
There you are.
Oh, no. Keep
Ah,
going,
but-
Hendo.
Keep going. Yeah.
I just took off my headphones, and
Yes.
suddenly you hear me, even though it wasn't attached, and it was just my headphones. Very odd.
Okay.
Anyway, can you now hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Jacob Bethel. Now, I think if they were wanting to play Jacob Bethel, and I suspect at the beginning of the summer that's what they were thinking of, then they should have played him a lot more during the summer, not just in terms of the test team, but he should have played a lot more long form cricket. Utterly ridiculous. He's almost lost a whole summer of cricket.
Yeah.
Whatever you say about England's preparations and what they're doing in Australia in terms of preparations, the preparation of Jacob Bethel for this series has been nothing short of utterly crazy. And on the basis of going to New Zealand where nobody got any runs and he got no runs, you can't put him in the team. Ollie Pope, of course, is not in that team. Comes back, plays a couple of good innings at Lilac Hill against his own players, and suddenly, well, he's got 100 and he's got 90, so you can't leave him out, can you? And all the talk was surely they're going to look at Bethel for that first test because they've downgraded Ollie Pope from vice captain.
Yeah.
The whole thing is an utter mess. And in a way, I'm actually glad that Ollie Pope will get the nod. I'm absolutely certain he will, because to put Jacob Bethel in there now would just be throwing him to the wolves again, as they did at the Oval in the final test against India. And I think he deserves a bit more than that. To suddenly ask him to go out and bat at 3 in Australia, when I'm not 100% whether he's got any experience in Australia at all, would just be asking for trouble. I did read earlier that they talk about Ollie Pope can be very good at the beginning of a series and then gradually falls away, and that was kind of true, wasn't it, of the summer, because he kind of got lucky. He got selected for that Zimbabwe test, got a big score, as did pretty much everybody. And it was then impossible to get Bethel into that team at that stage. So I think England have made an enormous cock up in their handling of Bethel, and there is no option but to go with Pope to start with, definitely.
Definitely, even
Agreed.
I am of the same opinion. Ollie Pope to come in at 3. Moving on to two of the best test batters of this generation, Steve Smith and Joe Root. We'll start with Steve Smith, who is averaging 56 in Ashes, and he has scored 3,417 runs at an average of 56, obviously. Messi with Australia's current shaky top order, do you think Smith can again carry this batting lineup?
I think he's going to make runs. I mean, he just does,
Yes.
doesn't he? He's not a batsman I'd go a long way to watch, but as an Australian supporter, I'm happy that he's making runs, and I think he will. He just accumulates them and accumulates them, and you know, there's a Sheffield Shield match between New South Wales and Victoria last week, and New South Wales were dismissed twice very cheaply. The only batsman to score over 20 in either innings, I think, was Steve Smith.
I think he got 50s in both of the innings, right? Yeah.
Yes, and he wasn't out in the second innings. I mean, he's just head and shoulders above anybody else, and he seems to be in a really good place at the moment, as is Labuschagne. So, yes, I think he'll make runs. He hasn't lost a test as captain.
Yeah.
As stand-in captain
Stand-in,
for.
yeah.
I was just thinking, I got no idea who the Australian vice captain is for this game.
Yes.
I don't really care. And yeah, I think he's going to make runs, but I also think Root's going to make runs. I mean, Root is just too good. I think Root is as good now as he's ever been. He's learned as he's gone. He's got smarter. He got a bit rash early in Bazball. He's settled back down again. I think he's an amazing batter, and I'm confident that he'll make a couple of centuries in the course of the Ashes somewhere.
Who's your favorite?
Who's
your favorite, Joe Root or Steve Smith as a batter, test batter?
To watch? Oh, Joe Root, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, as an Australian supporter, I want to see Smith make runs, but I don't want to not see Root make runs. It's like when Kohli was batting against Australia. I was disappointed when he got out. You know,
Yeah.
it's that conundrum between being a cricket lover and a fan
Yes,
we all face from time to time, I think.
Yeah. Talking about Joe Root, in 27 innings against test matches, like in test matches in Australia, he has scored 892 runs at an average of 35.68, 950s, best score of 89. Tony has already touched upon his downside about his batting technique as to why he's not able to score a century. What do you think, Tony? Will he be able to score a century this time around? Because Matthew Hayden has already said that he would run naked if Joe Root does not score a century. What do you think?
Hang on.
No, I don't want him to.
He's going to run naked if Joe Root does or doesn't.
Oh,
If he scores, if he doesn't score, he would run naked.
Oh, in that case, I
Doesn't
want
score.
him to score
Okay.
a century even more.
Then
Yes.
we need him to score a century.
Yes, yes.
I'm assuming that great big hat that
Yes.
Hendo wears, not Hendo, would be used to not to put on his head were he doing that particular run.
Yeah.
We might not need a very big hat.
Well, I
We
don't
could
know
give
how
him
big
a
a hat
bucket
he'd
hat.
need, but
We could give him Guerilla Cricket bucket hat.
I think Joe Root will. You can protest too much, can't you? No matter how much he says, no, it's not really troubled me, the more you think, well, it probably does.
Yeah.
That 35 you referenced as an average is his lowest in any country he's batted more than twice. There is, that thought that he loves to play that little glide, backward of square where he gets so many of his runs, and bouncier pitches are what have found him out more than other things. But he'll know that. He's adaptable. He'll be desperate. I think he's smart enough. If there are other more reckless England players, shall we say, who when the going's good, they look magnificent. When the going's tough, they get themselves out. I think Joe Root will do it this time, and I think he will do it because he's smart enough to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah.
But it won't be his normal way.
Okay.
He'll have to make some changes. I'd love to know what Hendo thinks about that particular one.
I think it's a really tricky one. I think I said to somebody the other day that, there are circumstances where even the best, for one reason or another, and actually it's not always possible to identify a reason, just don't come off as well as they do in most of their countries that they play in. I take Tony's point about the glide shot. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be picking on that. I think they might also have I don't know, fly slip occasionally, or a very fine third man in case he wants to try going up over them instead of playing that one down. I think it is more difficult to control that shot. It's onto you a little bit more quickly. I did see him in an interview yesterday with him and Jeffrey Boycott talking to Nick Holt of the Telegraph, and yeah, I think he has to adapt. If he doesn't get off to a good start, it's going to be a struggle though, because the pressure ramps up, doesn't it? If he can get 100 in the first Test match, then that lays it all to rest, and he's then laid a platform. Hopefully, people will shut up about that. But he's not got a terrible record. I mean, 35.5. It's not a brilliant average compared with what he's got elsewhere. But there are plenty of England players in the current era who would, go for an average of 35.5 in Australia, especially.
Yes.
And I mean, there may be plenty of England batsmen coming back from Australia after this series, averaging nothing like that. So, and I think if you look back to 2021, that was such a difficult tour for everybody, really.
Bolland had the sign over him for that series as well.
I
mean, he was bowling much fuller, wasn't he?
Yeah, and also I heard that that Hazelwood's got him 10 times in Test. That said, of course, Hazelwood is now out of this first Test. I do think losing both Hazelwood and Cummins does have an impact.
Yes.
Also, they've got such good bowlers to come in. Scott Boland, absolutely. Okay, people will say, well, he came to England and he didn't really do particularly well there. But he's in Australia. He knows Australia, and what was it? 6 for 7 he took at the MCG. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't aware of that morning. But and Nessa as well, as you say, they're all good bowlers. There are a lot of good bowlers. Okay, they're all aging, but I still think that it will be a struggle. That said, with those advantages, England have got possibly the best chance they've had of getting off to a 1-0 victory, a 1-0 start. The amazing thing to me, in a strange way, and I'm not quite sure what the reasoning was, whether it was just to give Gabba the day-night test. They've always started at Gabba, certainly in my era of following cricket. That always, or almost always, gives Australia the win, and yet they're starting in Perth, which is odd. I don't know what other people think about that.
It was based around two things: the uncertainty about the Gabba's future. It looked like it was only going to last till next year before they knocked it down. It's actually now going to last a bit longer, but it is going. But the other thing is, I have no doubt at all that the West Australian government paid several $1 million to Cricket Australia to secure it for the next 5 years in Perth. It makes sense weather-wise because Perth gets incredibly hot. And November is the best time to be playing. So, yeah, I'm very happy about it.
So does that mean the Fremantle Doctor is finally retired because he's not needed anymore?
Well, the Fremantle Doctor is still at work. The stadium is not particularly affected by the Doctor, although if you're in the top tier, it makes a big difference if it's a hot day.
Wasn't the Fremantle Doctor? Looking at Optus Stadium, which is that what you've got behind you, Messy?
It is, yes.
I mean, the thing is that the Wacker was much more open, wasn't it?
Yes,
so
yes.
The wind could come through the stadium a lot more. It doesn't look as if it's as easy as
it's not.
To get access to the playing area. I know it's different for a wind than it is for a human being, but it's going to have to come up a few little staircases to get in there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I always think of every time I hear the phrase the Fremantle Doctor, I've got this mental image of like sort of a Dr. Finlay character. I know it's actually supposed to be a wind, but I see this sort of kindly old gentleman in a kind of old-fashioned
I think
Edwardian style hat.
If England do quite well, we'll have to say that the Fremantle doctor's gone on strike.
Well, yeah. By the way, I found Boland against Root while you were
Oh, right.
talking there. So in 2021, Boland bowled 74 deliveries at Root. He conceded 39 runs and dismissed Root 4 times, consistently on the fuller length and still finding nicks rather than disturbing his furniture.
Okay.
So, and I think his average
in Australia is 12.6. His average in England is 48.
Well, his average against Root is 25 with his 4 wickets. Cummins 27 with his 11. Hazelwood 32 with his 10. Stark 44 for his 8, and Nathan Lyon 55 for his 8. Are you having a conversation with the cat or your other half?
No, sorry. It sounded like Sue was choking in the kitchen.
Oh, Lord, we don't want that. She's not South African, is she? You can't say that about South Africa today.
No.
You can't.
No.
Oh,
Raj has gone very quiet on that one.
We're going to have to talk faster. We've got 12 minutes till we
Yes,
get
Yes, as we are running short on time, we'll talk about the captains. We'll start with Messy. Pat Cummins is already ruled out from the first test match with a lumbar stress injury, and we don't quite know whether he would be available for the second or third or whatever in the remainder of the test matches. Steve Smith is the captain. Do you think the absence of Pat Cummins would have any bearing on this side, and probably that would give England an advantage, or Australia still strong enough?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, apart from his captaincy, Pat Cummins is a fantastic bowler.
Yes.
But because of the backups and because of the way in which Australia operates, I actually think his loss is sort of like a 10% loss for Australia. If Stokes were to go down for England, I'd see that as being 25 to 30% loss for England. He is such a key player for them. So yeah, it is a loss. But I don't think it's fatal. I think Stokes going down would be fatal for England.
Okay, that was a quick answer. Moving on to Tony. Ben Stokes, I classify himself as a perfect 4-dimensional player. Gun batter, gun fielder, gun bowler, and an inspirational captain. That bowling spell at Lords against India this year, last day, he bowled 2 spells of 10 overs, 10 to 11 overs across either side of the lunch break, and that run out of Rishabh Pant also kind of changed the match. So what do you think about Ben Stokes? Because England's hopes lies in Ben Stokes, and would he be able to be fit across all of the 5 test matches? Tony, and then Hendo can chip in.
You could raise that question for Stokes, Archer, Wood,
Atkinson.
just about anybody who picks up a ball or goes into the field for England is, can they survive? Mind you, that said, Australia are all in a bit of turmoil. And yeah, the second Ben Stokes does anything, a country holds its breath.
Yep.
He is, of course, in that phenomenal club with, was it Callis, Botham, Gary Sobers, 5 fifers and 10 hundreds is extraordinary. His leadership, in some ways he personifies Bazball, but I think he's moderated how he tackles that. I'm not sure the rest of the team have necessarily done it as well as he personally has. I will go back to the declaration at Edgbaston that we touched on earlier.
Yep.
I don't blame him for that. I've never blamed him for that. I blame old Iron Gloves, not Rod Marsh, but poor old the recovering Johnny Bairstow. If those catches had held, that declaration would have been perfectly legit, and England would have won that test. So
I suggest that Stokes wouldn't do that again.
Yeah, I'm not sure he would. Yeah, but I agree. I don't think he'd do that again. Short answer is yes, he is absolutely central to England's approach. England's fight. You didn't know who the Australian vice captain was, and I've got to say I don't. We do know England's is Harry Brook. There's so much to like about Harry Brook, but if from the second test onwards he's out there as captain, I frankly would be worried. Particularly seeing how the one-day team has gone. I don't have a doubt that he can do it personally. I'm not yet sure I've seen his leadership having the right impact.
Hendo,
and Stokes is the big occasion player. He's done it. He did it at Headingley. He's done it at Lords. Even one and win and one not.
Yes.
He's just a one-off. He's magnificent, and long may he be so.
Yeah. Hendo, anything you want to add? You have 30 seconds.
20 seconds.
Oh,
30 seconds.
God. Yeah, I would be worried if Harry Brook had to take over, definitely. But I can see it happening for one test. To be honest, it could happen with we hope that Ben Stokes doesn't get a serious injury, but he's always likely to get a niggle. I think the good thing is that there's a big gap between the first and the second, and the second and the third test. And then of course you've got the two back-to-backs more or less from Christmas. So yeah, Ben Stokes is totally a one-off. He's to me he's one of the best cricketers I've ever seen, purely because of his belief that he can win from any position, and he backs it up by doing it himself. I've never seen someone with that incredible belief to pull things around from a difficult position to win matches. I can't think of anyone else that I've seen in my cricket watching days, to be honest. I know that was longer than 20 seconds, but there you go.
That's great. That's great. Talking
He's the
about
Terry Butcher of England. You kind of need to see him being injured
Very good.
for him to somehow then pull his best out in adversity.
If he's wandering around with an enormous bandage on his head the whole game,
Well,
then
you
that
couldn't
might
do
be-
that these days, mind you, could you? You'd be
Yeah.
off. Concussion.
yes.
What would be an interesting discussion is if you take Callis, Botham, Sobers, and never mind the stats, and obviously Stokes, and you said, who do you think really stands out amongst them? That's a whole different podcast, but not for today.
Not
But
today,
would
yeah.
it be an interesting discussion?
It would be definitely yes.
just to fill in the question I asked, Travis Head is Australia's vice captain in Perth.
Yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense.
It
Although
makes
he's
sense,
not
yeah.
in great form. He's not
He's
been
in very poor
piling
form.
up runs in the Shield, has he?
Yeah.
No,
Well, he played one game in the Shield,
Yeah.
didn't he? But he's been playing white ball cricket for Australia for
Yeah,
couple of
he
months.
has.
But even there, he hasn't got runs.
yeah, he'll be all right.
So he's nailed on for a ton at Perth then.
Swiftly moving on to the next topic, which covers about the bowlers of both the sides. Australia, as we all know, Pat Cummins is ruled out. Josh Hazelwood is also missing because of a hamstring injury. Sean Abbott is also sidelined. Mitchell Starc, Scott Boland, and one of Neser or Brandon Doggett would play. I think Messi is of the opinion that Doggett should play. So what do you think about the Australian?
Well, I think
bowling attack?
Doggett has got the front running, but I think I'd like to see
Neser.
Neser in there, to be honest, because of his batting capacity as well. And given the time, I'll leave it at that. I think it's a decent lineup, notwithstanding the loss of Hazelwood and Cummins.
Just one question: do you think Australia will feature a four-man pace attack anytime in this series?
No,
No.
no.
3+1.
They won't leave.
Okay.
They'll never leave Lyon out.
Okay.
Because if you're going to bat through an innings that goes 100 overs, you need someone who can hold an end and give the pace bowlers a rest. And Lyon is the perfect man to do that. And he'll take wickets while he's doing it.
Okay.
The only thing that might sway them a little bit is, well, the end of last season. I don't know what he's done in the Blast the Shield this season. He's 13 wickets at 15. Okay, that's in 2 games. Is Doggett, which is brilliant.
Yes.
And then the last in Shield game of last season, he took 6 for 31 and 5, and then a 5 for in the second inning. So, either would be not a surprise. I just got this sneaky feeling that although he played 2 tests, they won them both. I think they might just have that on their mind, and I would kind of expect to see Neser, but
Neser, yes.
I wouldn't stake my house on it. Let's put it that way.
Yes. Talking about the England's bowling attack, they have Archer, Wood, Atkinson, Tongue, Cars, and Matty Potts. So what would be the bowling lineup for England? The bowling combination, Tony. What do you
Well, it's
think?
just a question of which order they fall over in.
Give Hendo the first go.
Yeah,
for
but
once.
I was going to
Hendo.
say, let's throw that one to Hendo.
It's a really difficult one to call, isn't it? Because if you can get for Archer and Mark Wood to stay fit, and there's no way that they will both play 5 tests, even if they are going very well. I wouldn't have thought. It would be madness. It's the backup bowling you've got to think about, isn't it? I mean, Stokes is Stokes, and he will always put himself on the line. The worry and something that Raj alluded to earlier was this thing of him bowling 10 overs before lunch and then 10 overs after lunch, and he was pushing himself in that game at Lords, really pushing himself. And if it is really hot, I mean, Perth, it's not going to be as bad as it normally is, we think, from what Messy says. So that will help. But I mean, it's going to get hot, isn't it, at some point? You know, in this series. I suppose the other thing that is good is that potentially he could be bowling in the evening in Brisbane as well. So hopefully he won't break down either. But Tongue and Atkinson are curious. I mean, Tongue, I think, is capable of bowling fantastic wicket-taking balls, but he's inconsistent, very inconsistent. He is another one who struggles with injury problems. You know, we think of Archer and Wood, but Tongue has had a long time out. And then Atkinson, people are looking at Atkinson and they're saying, you know, he's had such a great start to his Test career. He's going to go well in Australia. You know, he's a class bowler, and I think that's right. He is a class bowler. But I kind of think he's also the right pace for Aussie batsmen on good batting wickets.
We're into our last 60 seconds, by the way.
Yes, we are.
So
can we do another meet? Is that possible?
I'm not 100% convinced that Atkinson is going to be as successful as he has been in England. I hope he is. I think the difference between the two teams is that Australia's bowling is more accurate, much more accurate. And so if the ball's not doing much, accuracy can get English wickets.
That's fine. My question is, can we do another meet of like 15 minutes or so to finish the preview?
Yeah, absolutely. Do you need to send another invite, or we can log in on the same thing?
I'll send you another invite because we are running short on time. And so, yes, thanks. We'll be joining in the next video.
Okay.
I'll just stop streaming.